Are you thinking about moving to LA, or you're just curious about what it's like? Well, stick around. Here are some things that you should know before moving to Los Angeles. Number one, traffic. Traffic in the city is pretty crazy, but I'm sure every major city in the US has worse with traffic. Because the city is big, getting from one side of town to the other can take an hour, hour and a half, if not longer, just based off of traffic. And with traffic comes the price of gas. Gas in LA is pretty high. The gas prices at this current moment is anywhere from high $4 to around $5 a gallon. So it's not cheap. If you are thinking of moving here, short term or long term, and you know that you're going to be driving around and you know that you're going to have to invest in a car, definitely invest in a car that's good on gas. That will save you a lot of money. Number two is understanding the geography. Going back to number one, because the city is really big and getting one side of town to the other can, take a really long time because of the traffic. It's really important to understand, for example, where you work or the neighborhood that you're going to be working in or going to school at versus where you plan on living. Depending on the neighborhood, prices vary pretty drastically from the super bougie, nice neighborhoods of Beverly Hills to maybe the more affordable neighborhoods that you can find more central or east LA. I think that every Angelino that I know at one point or another is planning on making the switch to living closer to work. With the traffic, spending an hour plus commute is not fun. It's actually pretty miserable. So you can either choose to do like a 7-mile hour commute every day, and then months later, choose to live closer to where you work to minimize that commute, or you can just try and minimize it from the start, which is my advice. Now, if none of those are a factor and you are pretty much free to choose whichever neighborhood that you want, if you're just staying here for short-term, non-work related, or you work from home, then definitely still do your research and find which neighborhood that you like, the vibe, the safety. Do you want a neighborhood that is more walkable, that's easier to walk to grocery stores and entertainment? Or are you okay with maybe something more secluded, a little bit further on the outskirts of town, and then just having to drive everywhere, but at least where you live, your neighborhood is going to be quiet, not a lot of traffic going in and out. LA, there's so many neighborhoods. I believe there's about 88 different neighborhoods in the county. They all have their different vibes, different demographics, each one kind of has its own charm. So definitely do your research, figure out where you want to live, the neighborhoods that you're drawn to, price points of those neighborhoods, which is pretty important for you. The third thing you should know, and this is more so to avoid any type of shock, but again, I think a lot of major cities also have this problem, but cleanliness and homelessness. Again, it goes into which neighborhood that you're choosing to live in, but LA does have a pretty bad homelessness problem. That doesn't really seem like the city is effectively doing much to change that other than just like relocating some of the people that are unhoused. So that is something to just keep in mind, so you don't think that like it's all glitz and glam when you come here and you are shocked. Some neighborhoods are better than others when it comes to cleanliness and homelessness. It really just depends on the volume of people living in certain places, but that also is something to keep in mind and to know. Next is high rent. Rent is pretty high. I think with such a constant number of people moving into LA, there is a huge demand for housing. So a lot of landlords do jack up the prices as much as they can per unit when tenants move out, or even when tenants' lease is up. A lot of them will raise the rent to the maximum and won't really care to negotiate because they know that if you don't pay that high rent, somebody else will. And then some of the neighborhoods that are, very, really cute, nice, clean, where rent is a decent price, it will be hard It also depends on the year, but it might be hard to get units or to get apartments. And number 6 is going to be the people. Like I mentioned, there definitely is a very diverse, I don't even want to say group of people up here, but it's just diverse. You will find so many different types of people, from personality types from around the world, from dreams and things that people do or want to do. There's like everything here. With that being said, LA does have the reputation of having phony people, or that are all superficial, and there definitely is an aspect of that, which I think does make it a little hard to network sometimes. Living out here, depending on what industry that you're in, it can be pretty cliquey. If you're not at a certain point, if you don't make a certain amount of money, if you don't have a certain amount of followers, there definitely are people who will pretty much just write you off and have no interest in you because you don't directly benefit them. There is a lot of that, but there also is a lot of people who are super down to earth, super cool, and people who are genuine. And a bonus for you guys, this is natural disasters. Living in the United States, I think there's no place that is going to have no natural disasters. You don't deal with tornadoes or tsunamis or like snowstorms, but we do have wildfires, as we had one of the worst ones in history earlier this year in January. Wildfires is definitely something. As somebody who grew up in San Diego, it's something that happens every year. It's pretty normal in Southern California just because of how dry it is out there, and it's really easy for there to be a lot of dry plants in large fields, and a lot of brush fires start that way. That is something to keep in mind, is that we do have wildfires in addition to earthquakes. I think just like living in Southern California, I've personally never been in any super strong earthquakes where people got hurt or I got hurt or things fell or shifted. Most of the earthquakes that I have experienced, both in San Diego and living out here, have been pretty mild, never got harmed. But that's still a factor. It definitely is. It's always like a shock when it happens. And I've been living here for pretty much my whole life. It is always stops you in your tracks when it happens. You're like, oh my gosh, this is going to be the moment that ends it all. But yeah, that's pretty much just some points, things to know before moving to LA. Let me know if you guys want a part 2. I have so many more. Just breaking this up was kind of hard, but I do have a lot more other stuff that I do want to bring up. So let me know if you guys want to hear that. Please subscribe to my channel and comment down below if you enjoy this type of content. Thank you.